So what's up, guys? I'm back at you with another video. Yes, and in this video we are going to be discussing this question that I get a lot in my DMs, in my emails, in my text messages. And the question is, should I double close? And we're going to discuss that today. So let's jump right into it. The question is, should I double close? And let me start out with this this precursor, right? These are my opinions. This is how I train my team. This is how we run our business. Not saying that you have to do the same. But again, since I'm always asked this question, I just decided just to make a video about it and give my input on it. So, should I double close? And I'm going to give you the two reasons why I feel personally that there's no need to, right? And again, let's jump right into it. My reason number one, you're adding another cost to the scenario. And that cost you're going to have to pay, right? When you do a closing, there are closing costs that are associated with the real estate transaction, the property that you're selling or that you're buying. There are, whether you're using a closing attorney or a title company, depending on your state. Again, there's fees that are associated with that. And here in New Jersey, those costs can range anywhere from $1,200 to approximately about $1,800, right? And some may say that's not a lot of money if you're making a pretty sizable assignment fee. But again, that's money going out that doesn't necessarily have to go out, right? So that's my reason number one. You're adding another cost, another layer of cost to the scenario. Also, it comes across as you are possibly hiding something. And the only reason, I'm not going to say the only reason, one of the reasons why people choose to double close is they don't want the seller and or the buyer to know how much they're making off the deal. And this is specifically talking to my wholesalers, right? They typically do this because, again, they don't want the seller or the buyer to know how much they're making. So, again, number two reason is it comes across that you have something to hide. And I like to operate in transparency. I set up my business to be very transparent with the buyer and the seller. So let me tell you the two steps that I follow and I train my team to follow when we are vetting our sellers and our buyers, so we don't have to go down that route of double closing. And let me also say this, it also adds another layer of complexity for your closing attorney and or your title company. There are two sets of documents that have to be drawn up because there's two closings. There's an A to B and a B to C closing that's happening. So again, you're adding strain and stress that necessarily doesn't have to be brought into the scenario if you handle the situation as I'm going to express to you today. So how we avoid having to do double closing is we set expectations with our sellers and our buyers. And let me explain. I'll give you some scenarios, right, on how we kind of discuss and make sure that we're on the same page with our sellers and our buyers. Start with the sellers, right? Once we reach out to them and we start building rapport and we start talking about the property and we start discussing the terms of the deal, again, this is key. Once you start building rapport and you've gotten past that rapport stage where they kind of know who you are, you know who they are, what I train my team and what I do when I'm speaking to the sellers is I let them know, hey, Mr. Seller or Miss Seller, At this current time, I don't run a nonprofit organization, and I kind of make light of the situation. I always say yet, right? I don't run a nonprofit organization yet. At some point in my life, I plan on doing so, but at this point, this is what I do and what we do to feed our family. And excuse the dings going off in the background. I'm getting text. Anyways, but I tell them, and I train my team to tell them, this is what we do to feed our family. So we have to make a profit, right? We tell them also that we look for it to be a win-win situation, meaning that we hope that the number works for you and it works for us. And at the end of the day, that's what you're going to get at closing, the number that we agree upon. But again, we really stress to the seller that we have to make a profit, right? This is what we do as a business, so we have to be profitable. So that's on the seller side. That's setting expectation with the seller so that when you get to closing and you're making a $10,000, $20,000, $30,000 assignment fee, it's not a shocking surprise to them that they know that, hey, this is a business. Brandon and his company is looking to make a profit when they flip this property. So as long as the number worked for me and the number that we agreed upon, I'm cool with it. And that's generally the approach that the seller takes when we're at closing. I have yet to have a seller squawk at our assignment fee, and we've had assignment fees as large as $50,000. So again, it's how you position the conversation and set expectations with the seller. So that's on the seller side. Now on the buyer side, what we do is we screen all of our buyers, even before they make it to our list, even before they see one of our deals. We screen our buyers and we set it up something like this. We ask questions like this. So, hey, Mr. Buyer, if we give you a deal where the number works for you, that you can make a profit off of, whether you're fixing and flipping it, whether you're fixing and holding it to rent it out, whatever the case may be. If we give you a deal and the number works for you, would you have a problem if we made $100,000 as our assignment fee on a deal? Yeah, we asked them that, right? And if they start squawking and having a problem with it, and they're like, oh, it depends, or well, no, well, why you gotta make so much? They never make it to our buyers list. And don't be scared of that. Buyers are a dime a dozen. They're everywhere. If you have a deal, you will find a buyer. It doesn't matter, right? So if they have a problem with us making a certain amount of a certain amount of money, they never make it to our buyers list. So that's how we vet our buyers, right? So we ask them probing questions. And the main one, again, is to ask them, hey, and you come up with an astronomical number where it's like, that's crazy, right? That's why I said $100,000. Whereas they have to answer the question. And if it's a problem, do not put them on your buyers list. So guys, again, that's how you vet and you set expectations with your buyer and your sellers, letting them know that on the seller side, hey, I have to make a profit. I don't run a nonprofit organization yet. Make sure you say yet. Just make light of the conversation. And again, you're having this conversation with the seller after you have built some type of rapport and you're pretty much at the contract signing stage, or you're already there, right? So you have built some relationships with them, so you can let them know that, hey, this is what we do to feed our family, as I previously mentioned. And on the buyer side, again, we just let them know, hey, if we're making some crazy number or amount as our assignment fee, are you going to have a problem with it? So setting expectations is very key, very, very key. And if you follow these rules or these guidelines, you should never have to double close. Now, there are some instances that I won't get into in this video where you have to double close, right? I'll give you one, right? If you're doing a short sale. Some banks, and I won't get too deep into it, right? Where some banks have a clause that if it's a short sale, you have to hold on to the property for X amount of time or whatever, or you can't assign, and that's mostly the case with short sales. You can't technically do an assignment of contract. So in that case, you may have to double close. There's some other instances too, but we won't get into that. But generally speaking, you should not ever have to double close if you set expectations with your seller and your buyer. So guys, I hope that gave a level of clarity and explanation. Again, these are my beliefs. This is how we run our company. This is how I train my team to operate. This may not be for everyone, right? And I get it, that's okay. But to save yourself some stress, headaches, adding layers of complexity to the deal, just follow these rules and these guidelines, and it will save you a bunch of time. All right, guys. So until next video, make sure you subscribe, click that like button, hit the notification button to be reminded when we upload new videos. All right, guys. So get out there, prosper, and let's get some deals done. All right. Talk to you soon.